Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a huge stack of sources on a topic that's deeply personal and often pretty painful for a lot of women. We're talking about the changes in breast size and shape that happen with age.
It's something that happens to so many people, but it's still, really confusing.
Exactly. So our mission for you is to cut through that confusion. Is this just normal biology, or is our environment, hijacking a natural process?
It's so important to get this right because this isn't just a cosmetic thing.
Not at all. Our sources talk about really severe symptoms: back pain, neck pain, shoulder numbness, even migraines.
Yeah, and one source even claimed that the strain from unusually large breasts in really severe cases could potentially shorten a woman's lifespan by 5 years.
Wow. Okay, so that puts it into a whole other category of seriousness.
It really does. And what's striking is just the sheer scale of this change. It's not just a few people. It's a population level shift.
Right, let's just get into the numbers because they're pretty staggering.
Yeah.
The data shows this massive ballooning effect. In the 1950s, the average woman apparently wore a 34B bra. Today, the average is a 34DD.
That's a tripling of volume in just 60 years. It's incredible.
It is, and it's not just happening to younger women, right?
No, and that's the key. There was one study, over 1,000 postmenopausal women, and 1 in 5 of them actually had to buy a larger bra size after menopause.
So that kind of defies the historical narrative of aging, doesn't it?
Completely. It suggests something new is going on.
So that brings us to the two competing ideas in our sources. Is this just the natural result of aging, or is there some modern factor that's supercharging this process?
Let's start with the standard explanation.
Yeah.
The one that's been around for decades.
Okay.
The conventional wisdom really centers on menopause, which is usually between 45 and 55, and it's all about the natural decline of ovarian estrogen and progesterone.
Right. And there's a specific term for this, isn't there?
Yes, it's called involution.
Involution. Okay, so if hormone levels are dropping, which is what happens post-menopause, wouldn't you expect things to, shrink?
You would. And in one sense, they do. Involution is basically a crucial tissue swap. The dense, milk-producing glandular tissue, it atrophies, it shrinks away.
Okay, so that part does shrink.
But in its place, the body puts down softer, bulkier adipose tissue, or, fatty tissue.
So it's a swap, but the new stuff takes up more space. It's like exchanging a compact, damp sponge for the same weight in fluffy cotton balls.
That is the perfect analogy. The cotton balls just have way more volume.
Yeah.
And on top of that tissue swap, the whole support structure starts to degrade with age.
You mean things like collagen and elastin?
Exactly. The skin and the supporting Cooper's ligaments, they lose their elasticity, they get stretched out.
So gravity takes over, the tissue spreads out, and that whole bust measurement on the tape measure just gets bigger.
Precisely. And you add in the fact that hormonal shifts after menopause tend to make us store more fat in general, especially in the abdomen and breasts, and, you've got a recipe for increased size.
That's the textbook explanation. But it doesn't really explain a tripling of the average size in 60 years.
No, it doesn't. And that's where our sources introduced this pretty radical counter-narrative, the idea that this isn't about too little estrogen, as involution suggests.
But about too much.
Exactly. A state called estrogen dominance.
So this theory just throws out the conventional wisdom.
It really challenges it. I mean, it asks, if this was just natural aging, why didn't it happen to our grandmothers? Historically, breasts tended to shrink with age. So why are we seeing this massive swelling now?
And they argue that the other common reasons, like, say, overall weight gain, don't fully explain it either.
Right. They point out that for many women, it's just the cup size that increases, not the band size. And even women on very strict no-carb diets still report this swelling.
So if it's not natural aging and it's not diet, this theory points the finger at the environment.
The environment itself. But the problem isn't a lack of hormones. Yeah. It's that we are, swimming in what are called fake estrogens.
Fake estrogens, or xenoestrogens.
Xenoestrogens, yeah.
So give us the quick model for this. How do these fake hormones hijack our system?
Okay. Think of your natural hormones as a key that's perfectly designed for a lock on your cells. Xenoestrogens are like fake keys. They're fat-loving, so they settle into fatty areas like the breast tissue.
And they fit in the locks.
They do. And the sources describe them as being MEA stronger than our natural keys. So they turn the lock, and they cause the fat cells to expand.
Uh-oh.
And this is the crucial part. They cause those fat cells to start producing their own estrogen. which creates a dangerous feedback loop.
So it just snowballs. And if that's the mechanism, it sounds like the modern food supply is the main delivery system for these fake keys.
It's a massive factor, and a lot of it seems to be tied to, corporate profit, getting things to market faster and cheaper. It really starts with what we eat.
Okay, walk us through the worst offenders, starting with meat and dairy.
The recommendation is to cut way back on factory-farmed animals, specifically the ones treated with synthetic growth hormones to make them bigger, faster.
Because we absorb those hormones.
We do, and you can see the effect when you compare different regions. Europe banned U.S. and Canadian beef imports that used these hormones all the way back in 1989.
And the difference in health outcomes is pretty stark.
It is. The sources say that American women now have 5 times the risk of developing this type of hormone-dependent breast cancer compared to countries that don't allow hormonal beef.
5 times? That's a huge number. And it's not just injections in beef, right? What about chicken?
Right. Even if a chicken isn't injected, it's what it's fed. A lot of factory-farmed chicken feed is soy-based.
And soy contains its own type of plant-based estrogen.
Phytoestrogens, yeah. And to quantify that risk, one calculation in the sources suggested that feeding a baby exclusively on soy formula is like giving it 5 birth control pills a day, based on body weight.
5 birth control pills a day. Wow. Just thinking about that level of exposure for an infant it's really sobering.
It is. And then you've got the low-dose antibiotics they use as growth promoters in poultry. The result is chickens that are 4 times bigger than in the 1950s with breasts that are 80% bigger.
And we are eating the results of that.
We are.
Okay, so that's animal protein. What about fruits and vegetables and all the processed stuff we eat?
Commercial produce is often sprayed with pesticides and fertilizers that act as very strong estrogens once they're in our bodies.
Is there an easy way for people to spot this?
There's a quick tip. Check the PLU sticker on produce. A 4-digit number means it's conventional. But a 5-digit number that starts with a 9, that means it's organic.
That's a great tip. And processed foods?
They're a minefield. The number of food additives has just exploded, from about 800 in the 1950s to over 10,000 today.
10,000.
And the sources stress the FDA doesn't test them for estrogenic activity.
So we're basically the test subjects. Okay, which specific chemicals should we be watching out for?
The sources flag 3 big ones. First up is BPAs, or bisphenol A. It's in plastics, food packaging. Canned foods are a big source, especially canned soups.
That is pretty much everywhere, right?
Oh yeah. 93% of the U.S. population has detectable levels. And it's directly linked to abnormal breast growth.
Okay, what's number 2?
Parabens. These are preservatives, they're in cosmetics, but also hidden in foods under these confusing E codes, like E218, you find them in soft drinks, beer, tortillas.
And the link to breast tissue is pretty direct here.
Very. A major British study looked at 20 breast tumors. They found traces of 5 different parabens in 19 of them.
19 out of 20. That's, yeah. And the third one, the one that's famous for what it does in nature.
That would be atrazine. It's one of the most widely used pesticides in the U.S. It's been found in 80% of our drinking water samples.
And this is the one that...
It's so potent as an endocrine disruptor that it's been proven to literally turn male frogs into females.
Wow. Okay, so avoiding that means filtered water and going organic wherever you can.
Absolutely.
So if these chemicals are causing this physical change, let's pivot to the immediate painful consequences. The back, neck, and shoulder pain.
This is where biomechanics really comes into play. A key study we looked at found that bigger breasts and a higher BMI are significantly linked to very specific spine pain.
Not just general back pain.
No, they were able to localize it. They found distinct tenderness at the T7 and T8 vertebral levels, right in the mid-back.
T7 and T8, that is incredibly specific. So the sheer weight is a measurable mechanical stress on those exact vertebrae.
It is. And what was so important about that finding is that they proved this link was independent of other things you might blame, like, your general posture, or even if you had a professionally fitted bra.
So the mass itself was the number one driver of that specific pain.
An overwhelming driver, yeah.
But wait, you said bra fit wasn't the cause of the T7, T8 pain, but the study found another huge problem with bras that still adds to the discomfort, didn't it?
It did. And this is probably the biggest takeaway for anyone listening who is dealing with this pain every day. The study revealed that a staggering 93% of the postmenopausal women they looked at were wearing the wrong size bra.
93%. So basically 9 out of 10 women are working with the wrong equipment.
The wrong equipment, exactly. It broke down to about 57% wearing bras that were too small and 36% in bras that were too big.
Which has to make the underlying pain from the weight so much worse. Even if it's not the root cause, it's a huge, fixable source of daily misery.
It really is. And it's no wonder so many women end up looking at surgical solutions. Over 103,000 women had breast reduction surgery back in 2015, and nearly a third of them were over 50.
And what did the sources say about the risks of surgery for older women? I know we found some conflicting data on that.
Yeah, some early studies suggested the risks were higher for women over 50. But a more recent, more detailed study from 2017 brought a lot more clarity.
Good news, I hope.
Mostly, yes. It concluded that being 60 or older is not associated with overall worse outcomes. They only found a minor increase in the risk of one specific thing called fat necrosis. So age alone shouldn't necessarily be a barrier.
That's really reassuring. Okay, so let's shift from dealing with the consequences to tackling the cause. We need strategies to fight this estrogen dominance from the inside.
Right. If the problem is these fake estrogens, the solution is using food to help your body detoxify and find its own balance. Our sources laid out 5 key food groups that can act as a natural defense system.
Okay, let's break them down. First up, how do we get these bad hormones out of the body?
You start with cruciferous vegetables. We're talking broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale. They have something called sulforaphane, which helps the liver do its job.
Its job of detoxing.
Exactly. Helps the liver package up all this excess estrogen so you can get rid of it through your urine. And you don't need a ton. Just 3 to 5 servings a week is enough.
Simple enough. So the liver packages it up. What's the next step in getting it out?
Fiber. Once the liver processes the estrogen, it goes to the intestines. But if there isn't enough fiber there, it can actually get reabsorbed back into your system.
Oh, so you're just recycling the problem.
You are. Fiber binds to that estrogen waste and makes sure it gets flushed out for good. The goal is about 30 grams a day, and beans like kidney, black, or cannellini beans are one of the best sources.
Okay, so detox with veggies, flush with fiber. What's defense number 3?
This one is pretty clever. You use phytoestrogens. These are weak, natural plant estrogens from things like coffee, tea, apples, and berries.
How does that help?
Well, because they're weak, they can take up space on your cell receptors. They basically act as placeholders, blocking the stronger fake xenoestrogens from being able to dock there. They're like harmless decoys.
That is smart. And you mentioned a specific fruit juice that was a powerhouse.
Pomegranate juice, it's a natural adaptogen. It's amazing. It actually contains the same 3 estrogens that a woman's ovaries produce.
So it knows what the body needs.
It seems to. If your natural estrogen is low, it helps raise it. If it's too high because of all the fake stuff, it helps block the stronger hormones. Just 2 ounces a day is the recommendation.
Incredible. And finally, what's the raw material our bodies need to regulate hormones in the first place?
Good fats. Absolutely essential. Your body literally can't produce the natural hormones it needs to create balance without high-quality fatty acids and cholesterol. Coconut oil is a source that's often recommended.
And beyond diet, what about just managing the pain and the risk day to day?
A few key lifestyle things. Limiting caffeine can help because it's a diuretic and it's linked to breast tenderness. Avoiding smoking is huge for tissue health. And maintaining a healthy weight is critical since we know obesity increases cancer risk.
And what about exercise?
Definitely. Chest exercises like weightlifting can build up the pectoral muscles. That creates a sort of natural lift, takes some of the strain off, and it's also shown to lower breast cancer risk.
And the most important baseline for everyone.
Regular monitoring. Monthly self-checks are non-negotiable, especially when you know that 2 out of 3 breast cancers are diagnosed in women over 55. You have to be your own first line of defense.
So this deep dive has really shown us that this is a 2-part problem. You have the natural process of involution, the tissue swap, but it seems to be getting amplified and distorted by this huge surge in environmental fake estrogens.
It is, but the key thing is that we have some actionable control here. By knowing what to avoid, the BPAs, the atrazine, the factory meat, and knowing what to add in fiber, cruciferous veggies, good fats, we can actively push back.
And for anyone listening who is dealing with that real physical pain, remember that it is biomechanical stress, often right on those T7 and T8 vertebrae. but the simplest, most immediate takeaway might just be mechanical.
Get your bra size checked.
Get your bra size checked. Knowing that 9 out of 10 postmenopausal women are wearing the wrong fit, that's a huge, manageable source of discomfort that you can potentially fix today. We want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We've seen that our food and our environment are dramatically changing our hormonal landscape. If a chemical like atrazine can literally turn a male frog female, what other subtle, persistent hormonal instructions are we all receiving every single day? And what does that mean for the health of our children and grandchildren? Something to think about. And please apply what you've learned today.